One of the last sizable moves left to be made in free agency outside of the restricted free agents was Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal has now officially been bought out by the Phoenix Suns. We're going to talk about what it means for the Suns and for Bradley Beal right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all. This one comes from Shams, who says this: three-time NBA All-Star Bradley Beal has agreed to a contract buyout with the Phoenix Suns and plans to join the Los Angeles Clippers on a 2-year, $11 million deal with a player option after clearing waivers. This now gives the Suns increased team building flexibility by taking them out of the first and second tax aprons, providing them access to more tradable draft picks in the future, and opening up part of the mid-level exception to utilize. Let's look at the first part of this for the Phoenix Suns, right? The Suns, who have completely changed their direction after trading Kevin Durant, making draft selections of Rasheer Fleming, Kaman Malawak to their team, and then in the trade getting Jalen Green back. They've really revamped their team, and now they're trying to gear it more towards around Devin Booker. They still want to be competitive in the Western Conference. I don't know how much they're going to be at that right away. They also traded for Mark Williams to get him in there as the starting center, as Kaman Malawak has been very, very raw so far, even in summer league. But you got that there. They've definitely chosen now a direction in where they want to go with the roster. Ryan Dunn, right? We can talk about Ryan Dunn as well. Ryan Dunn looks really damn good so far in summer league as well. So it looks like, they have now, the Suns, they've picked that direction. They still don't have a point guard yet, which is one of the biggest kind of things to me that I'm still concerned about with that team, is that they don't have that point guard yet. They still have moves they can do in Grayson Allen, things like that, but they now have flexibility. This move not only takes them out the first tax apron, but also the second tax apron as well. Should have said that other way. Not just the second tax apron, but also the first tax apron, which really now leaves them in a spot where they have a lot more flexibility that they can do with their roster. And that's really what they wanted to gain out of this, is they're no longer right up against it. They can trade multiple players now if they decide to do so. It's a lot that the Suns now gain. The ability to go from being over the second tax apron to underneath even the first tax apron is huge, and something that cannot be overlooked, and just how much flexibility that gains. They can trade more draft picks if they want to continue to try to build around Devin Booker. They can use their mid-level exception. They can combine now multiple players' contracts to get even further, to get to match salaries now if they choose to do so. This is a absolutely huge move for this Phoenix Suns team, and it was only a matter of time. We heard over the weekend, right before the weekend, that there was a date where Bradley Beal got a payment, and that's part of the reason why they waited this long for that deal to be done. But now the buyout is complete. Bradley Beal has now accepted it, and is there. They were $13 million above the second tax apron, $25 million above the first tax apron, and now they're completely below both of those. And so they have now the flexibility that's needed to get them for them to be a little bit more active. Now it's at the end of free agency, so there's not a whole lot of deals probably left to be done between here and now and the end of the season, but they're going to figure that thing out. And so if they wanted to be a player for a team, any of the restricted free agents that are left out there, they only have a mid-level exception. They could try to get involved in signing trades if they decide to do that, something like that. That this may have been also why they were waiting, to maybe make a move as far as getting another point guard in here, unless they really do feel confident with Jalen Green and Devin Booker, which that raises even more questions if they're going to decide to do that. But that's the outlook now for this Phoenix Suns team. They're under the apron completely. They have more flexibility. They're going to go out and try to get more players that actually fit what they're trying to bring in here now, whether that means being active in the trade market or anything like that. And they're just going to go forward now and try to figure it the hell out. And while I do think, and I was somebody who was very vocal on the fact that they should be exploring also trying to move off of Devin Booker and completely reset the deck, stack all the draft picks possible. That's just not what they decided to do, and that's perfectly fine. There is something that I do commend to a team that tries to continue to win, right? A team that doesn't want to bottom out. We see so much of that now with teams that make the decision to bottom out rather than, they didn't try to build around stars, even though it may be the more difficult path. That's now what the Clippers are committed to doing. And there are some guards out there that they could take a look at if they decide to do so. Like Not guards that I think really completely changes their direction or anything like that, but people like Patty Mills is still out there. Corey Joseph is still out there, even though he's a little bit older as well when it comes down to it. They could make a run at like Quentin Grimes, even though it's not really a point guard, so that doesn't help them out there. So, there are some moves if they decide to do so. They can also now be more active in the trade market if they decide to do that with, being under the first tax apron. They can absorb a little bit of money, send out, maybe use a player like Grayson Allen and try to go out and get that point guard if they decide to do that. So there are options out there for him. Ben Simmons is a player that's out there as well. Ben Simmons, maybe, right? Unconventional, but maybe you look at that. So we'll see what the Phoenix Suns end up doing. But let's shift this. Now that we've heard that he does plan on signing a 2-year, $11 million deal with the Los Angeles Clippers, that means that we can already eliminate the question on where's Bradley Beal going to go. He's made his choice. He's going to go to the Clippers. He's going to join that team. And so when you look at that team's decision to trade Norman Powell, it makes even more sense now for them to do that, because you're getting a guy like Bradley Beal who, I get it, what happened in Phoenix wore off a lot of the positive thoughts around him. But he's still a player that can absolutely fill it up. I think you get him in the right situation. You got guys like Chris Dunn on that team as guards. Of course, I don't think you're going to start. Are you going to start James Harden and Bradley Beal? I doubt that, right? But you're able to bring somebody off the bench that can still play, can still perform. They added Brook Lopez. They got Zubac down there. Kawhi Leonard had one of his more healthy seasons. Derrick Jones Jr. is still there as well. So, you still got some options down there for players and to continue to look at things. And I, for one, don't think that that's a bad route for them to go. So the Clippers are a team that was 5th in the West, I think, last year. They're now looking to make some steady movements to move up. Brook Lopez also said that he's going to help the Lakers rise up. He's going to level up the Clippers. And, that's perfectly fine. They won 50 games last year, but they did so with, Norman Powell having the season that he had, Kawhi Leonard having one of his more healthy seasons that we've had in recent memory. And you added some role players there. So the Clippers, I don't put them in the tier of like a contending team in the Western Conference, at least not before seeing anything. But they are a team that's definitely, you can tell they're making their move and they're trying to do something as well. So, we'll see how they end up being. Hopefully Kawhi Leonard, who played 37 games last year, 68 the year before that, hopefully he plays even more games this year. And that's always going to be the key. He was healthy at the right time for them in the playoffs for them. So that take that for what you will. He played 7 games in the playoffs last year, but you want Kawhi to be more healthy, and a player like Bradley Beal helps that times that Kawhi needs to sit down. That Kawhi is not going to be playing. He's not going to be in games. Maybe not even playing back-to-backs. We don't know what that outlook is going to look like for him. But Bradley Beal, and adding him, he adds that. He adds to that, especially with Norman Powell going over to the Miami Heat. So that makes some sense there as well. Now we just got to see how things are going to work out for these teams going forward, and we shall see. But now the Bradley Beal thing is done. We don't have to talk about it anymore. We know exactly what it's going to be, and we'll see how it works out for these teams. Let me know what you guys think on this down below. How effective do you think Bradley Beal is going to be with the Los Angeles Clippers? Do you think he's going to work out for that team? And then with the Phoenix Suns, what do you think they're going to do with their flexibility? Do you see them adding a point guard over this time? What do you guys see over that? Let me know what you guys think on all that down below. Make sure you guys are following us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything basketball related. And I'll see you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.